Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Don Lucha channel. I know. It's been a while since I posted an actual video with my voice and not a part of the Lucha Mania game series because, ladies and gentlemen, I had to come out of that retirement aspect because it's a special day, a special video once again. I got in my Jey Uso bag, I got in my Jey Uso mood, and I said, you know what? Let's hit that. Let's run that back. Let's run that back. And let's run it back to our very first video posted on the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, the first video I ever posted was a predictions video going into the year of 2024. And if you weren't a part of the channel, if you weren't a part of the crew, if you weren't a part of the audience at that time, don't worry. Let me play you a little clip of what I'm talking about.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to EDL. It's your boy Don Lucha. Today I got two special guests today for my very first video. I'm excited. I'm pumped. From the MWP, the Mostly Wrestling Podcast, I got Jack. Jack, how you?
But now that you watched that clip and everything, and you saw the journey that we came across in this YouTube grind, you see that, you know what? Let's run that back because last year we did it again. And so we're doing it again this year as we are doing the 2026 predictions in the wrestling space, in the wrestling world, however you want to call it. But we are doing 2026 wrestling predictions. We're going to go wacky. We're going to go bold. We're going to try to get technical, a little bit of everything here. But ladies and gentlemen, I am not alone for this. Because as I said, and as you saw in the clip, I had special guests back then. I had special guests last year. So ladies and gentlemen, it was only right if this year when we recorded, we got those special guests back with us once more. Again, ladies and gentlemen, back with us. First off, it's the reigning, defending Lucha Mania Singles World Champion, Jack, and my boy, Glorious Pete 11. Ladies and gentlemen, the fellas are back here. Let's start it off with Jack, the reigning world champion. Jack, thank you for joining me once again for this video, bro. You know, 2025 was a up and down year in wrestling, depending on what company you like, you know, which wrestlers you like or whatever. But I want to know, Jack, just off rip here, in 2025, if you can describe overall the wrestling landscape in just 3 words or less, how would you do it?
Ooh, man, you are putting me on the spot with that one. A little under the weather here too. I gotta get my brain moving. Wrestling in 2025. Whole landscape, honestly, be honest with you on my end, 3 words. Didn't watch a lot. I'll be honest, I was not watching a lot week to week. I went to a lot of shows this year, a lot of indie shows, had a lot of fun with that. Hit up some AEW shows. We were at World's End. So I always have fun with wrestling. I still follow it very closely. I know what's going on. I'm tapped in. But I'm not going to lie, didn't watch a lot of weekly shows, missed a lot of AEW pay-per-views, missed a lot of WWE PLEs. So I'm hoping we can change that in 2026, honestly. I take 50% of the blame. I'll give wrestling the other 50% of the blame, right? We'll do half and half.
I like it. Well, you didn't watch a lot. And well, a lot of people won't blame you, man, because like I said, depending on what you like, well, if you like WWE, they didn't honestly put out the best product. So there's a lot of people in your shoes. Maybe, you know, Don Lucha's one of them. Can't lie, Don Lucha's one of them, right? But if you watch nothing but AEW, and if you're a fellow sicko like my boy here, Glorious Pete 11, then you know 2025 for you was fantastic, beautiful. Whatever you watched was magic gold. Pete, now I ask you, 2025 for you in 3 words or less, what is it?
Well, as a all elite sicko myself, I think this was the best year in AEW's history.
Ooh.
I think the quality top to bottom of every single show was unmatched, and this was one of my favorite years of wrestling of all time. I thought it was incredible.
Where's the 3 words? I'll go ahead and do 3 words.
I gave 1 word and then I explained why.
I guess the best way to put it, AEW in 2025, elite.
Better.
Elite.
AEW
Elite, better, however you want to put it. It was just simply the best of the best, no doubt about it. Even somebody like me who watches a little bit of AEW can tell you without a doubt AEW was the top of the top. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with the OG crew back again doing the predictions video. And we got a lot of categories to go over today. Some fun ones, some a little bit serious ones, some out there that we're going to get to. And so without further ado, we're going to get started with the first prediction of the night. And for this one, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with our bold in-ring prediction in 2026. Jack, let's start it off with you, brother, because in 2025, you said your big bold prediction in 2025 was that Cody Rhodes heel. You left it at just Cody Rhodes heel. You didn't get too much into it. And I think we can look back and say, at least with less than a week to go or less than a day to go, that hasn't happened yet, right? So
Close.
that didn't happen.
It's close.
Right, you were close,
Yeah.
right? Maybe a little glimpse here and there.
I don't think I was wrong. I think I was just a little
Maybe
early,
just a little
right?
bit early, right? So let's see
Yeah.
now, Jack. Are you gonna double up on that, or do you got a new in-ring prediction for 2026? Take it away, Jack.
Yeah, for the sake of changing it up, I won't double down on that. Mine here, I feel like it's only bold because I'm calling two shots in one here. It's not one or the other. I think both of these things will happen. I'm going to go with, it goes one for each company. We got WWE, AEW, or depending what you want to believe, maybe both these happen in the same company, right? I'm going to go with that we see both Bryan Danielson and Kevin Owens wrestle again in 2026. One of them could have had a career-threatening injury. The other claims to be retired, semi-retired, also has a history of injuries, right? Want to take things slow. I don't think either of these guys can stay away, man. I'm not going to lie to you. And we know from Bryan Danielson's past, he hasn't let doctors stop him. Kevin Owens might not let doctors stop him, right? I do think we see both of those guys in the ring. Now, what companies they're for, who knows? That's why I'm just sticking with both wrestle again in 2026.
I like that one, bro. That one's a little bit out there, but also too not super unrealistic because I mean, we don't know too much about Kevin Owens' condition and all that, right? He's a little bit active here and there on social media, not too much, but we don't have so many updates that we can't really guess his timetable of his return, if he's gonna return at all, right? So that definitely is a bold in-ring prediction for 2026. Pete, for you in 2025, your bold prediction was that Matt Cardona was not only going to sign to a major company, get it? You know, I had to run that back just like you said it. But he was also going to win a championship in said company. That really didn't happen, unless you
Matt
consider
Cardona,
Indies a major company.
TNA, former digital media champion. I'm pulling at straws here, but yeah, you know what? He makes more money on the indies anyway. Shout out Matt Cardona.
Shout out Matt Cardona, indeed, man. I'm not gonna lie. When he returned and everything to WWE, I popped for sure, man. But that didn't come true in 2025, Pete. So now I need to know, what's your 2026 bold in-ring prediction?
So this is interesting. Me and Jack were very much same thought process here, but different. I have a different wrestler than both of his. So my bold prediction for 2026 is that Adam Cole will get cleared to compete again. A lot of people think he's going to end up having to go into retirement, just like Danielson and potentially Kevin Owens. I think it'll be a similar story for Adam Cole. I think we'll see him back in the ring by the end of the year.
Ooh, okay. So I like that. Another, injury situation where you see, people coming back from severe injuries. But this time we got Adam Cole for Pete. And I actually love that one as well, Pete. Adam Cole's one of the guys who has just been so, negatively affected by the injury bug the last few years that it just dead ass feels like we've been robbed from Adam Cole's core years where, he just felt like he was at the peak of his popularity, and we just haven't got much out of that just because, he's been injured so much. And so I love that one, Pete. I really hope that one comes true as well as Jax with Kevin Owens as well. Especially with Kevin Owens, just because I love Kevin Owens. But I hope everybody comes back from those injuries and comes back healthy and everything. We see them in the ring. I love your guys' in-ring prediction. And now for mine, because ladies and gentlemen, in 2025, my prediction as well did not come true. We went 0 for 3 in this category because my prediction was that Mina Shirakawa was going to sign to the WWE. But not only to the WWE, was that she was going to sign to the WWE, but also win the NXT Women's Championship or the NXT Women's North American Championship. And well, a year later, we can see Mina Shirakawa is in AEW and actually won a Ring of Honor Interim Championship gold. And who knows, maybe in 2026, she could even hold AEW Women's gold, but who knows? But that didn't come true. So this time I had to run it back. Well, I had to come with a fresh new prediction, but I couldn't narrow it down to just one. So I have two. And my first one, and they're both related to AEW. So I'll start it off with the more, fun one, the more one that I think is more likely to happen, but I really want to see as well, is that I think in 2026, we will finally get the announced AEW Women's Continental Classic Tournament. Whether that happens in 2026 or it's just strictly announced, but I think that's what we're going to get in 2026 for sure in the ring, is that we're going to get a Women's Continental Classic. And I can't wait for that. I think they have the roster for it. I think they're deep enough to have it. I think it'll be amazing. It'll give women a bigger chance at a more chance at a spotlight and TV time, of course. But also too, it just gives the US audience who struggles, especially, it's been pointed out lately, I've seen online with like Chris Statlander and stuff, they haven't really gotten as much of reaction unless they're doing something like out of the ordinary. And so I think with this tournament, just allowing them just to focus the in-ring grabs and everything in a tournament aspect, just like the AEW Men's Continental Classic took over and everybody loves it now, I think we're going to get the same thing with the women's. That's my first prediction. And the second one, the one that I think it's a little bit, I'm sorry, fellas, but I think in 2026, Kenny Omega will either announce his official retirement date or retirement match.
Hey, I had that last year, I think.
You did, Jack. You did.
Hope it doesn't happen.
I think this is the year that we just get finally the announcement of it. I just think, Kenny Omega is similar to Adam Cole, but his is a little bit more like serious in the health department, where he's just been, hurt or had illness. He had the diverticulitis, and that was very serious. And he hasn't really fully recovered. So I just think this is, we're just getting closer to that time where we're going to get to the end of Kenny Omega's in-ring career. And I think in 2026 is that time. Fellas, let's move on. I know, man. I hope I'm wrong too, but let's move on to the next one here. Let's move on to a little bit of a brighter spot after what I just left us off with, because the next one up is the breakout star of 2026. Let's start it off with Pete. I want to know, because the category was Breakout Star of 26, and the only restriction for this was that they must have not held championship gold in 2025. So with that, Pete, who is your breakout star that we're going to see in this coming year?
So I had quite a few names down for this one. I'm not going to say them just because I anticipate other people may have them. But the top name that I came up with, who may be in some of my answers later in this video as well, is AEW's Megan Bayne.
Ooh.
I think she has been a complete standout since signing her. I think she might even be women's tag champ right now if Penelope wasn't injured, or at least next in line for that. And then I think just positioning her as we go into maybe the middle of next year as a singles main event star, she'll fit right in. She's incredible. She impresses every match she's in. I think Megan Bayne is the perfect pick for 2026.
Hey, P, you actually you're kind of keeping on with a similar pattern here, because in last year, in 2025, your prediction was Jordynne Grace was going to be the breakout of the breakout star in 2025. So that muscular tone, the big strong woman is your pick for breakout star in 2025. And Pete, to be honest with you, that's not a bad pick at all. Megan Bayne for Pete's breakout star in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, I had a few names in mind here, and you know what? Out of respect for Jack, I don't want to take his. I'm only going to name one out of the three. Because in the 2025, my breakout star, I had said Stephanie Valkyrie. And looking back, maybe that was a given. Maybe that one was too easy, right? Everybody could have called that one. But in 2026, I decided to go a different lane. And so I think in 2026, the breakout star, I'm going with NXT's Ren Sinclair as my breakout star in 2026. Now, I see Pete's face there. He's a little bit, maybe not, right? But listen here.
It's interesting. I'm not disagreeing.
With the way that NXT is looking and the way NXT is going, I think she's in a prime position to not only take the next step, but also fill in the holes that will be missing, because we've seen it if you've been watching WWE TV that, call-ups are happening from NXT, the likes of Oba Femi, the likes of Javon Evans, maybe even Sol Ruka. So I think there's a lot of holes to fill in that NXT roster, and Ren Sinclair is somebody who hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity to shine like that. And I think she just fits perfectly within what NXT does, but also to what could work in a similar role as to like how Chelsea Green, got to like stardom and everything, that quirky, that goofiness and everything. I see similar trajectory for Ren Sinclair, so that's my pick for 2026 breakout star of the year. Jack, for you, your 2025 breakout star of the year prediction was Willow Nightingale, and now looking back a year later, Willow Nightingale ends the year as one half of the AEW Women's Tag Team Champion. So we can say that was successful for you. We can call that one successful. But now, your 2026 breakout star, Jack, who is it?
Yeah, so Pete took my pick on the women's side, so you might have seen me groan a bit. It wasn't because I dislike Megan Bayne, because I agree with everything that he said about her. So we'll take it over the men's side. You guys both gave a woman's breakout star. I'll give you one for the men's. And maybe it's cheating a little bit, right? Because it feels a little obvious. Might be cheating a little bit as well, because he has gold, but it's not in WWE or AEW, which are probably the two biggest promotions in the US right now. But I'm going to go with a guy who's just the most obvious poach of all time for WWE. We're going with Leon Slater. You saw him on John Cena's show, right? Could have been handpicked by Cena himself to be on that show. Don't know the full details of the booking. But so we saw him in the primetime Peacock spot, right? Right now he's currently signed to TNA. But it's just one of those obvious poaches, and not in a Joe Hendry way, like this is funny graps, this is entertainment, like this is legit graps, man. I know, hope we don't get any comments saying no, wrong, but I think it is. So seen little of him, but I've liked what I've seen, and it just feels like one of those ones where WWE is waiting on him. Once his TNA shit is up, he'll come to WWE, and they'll want to push him hard, So I'll go with Leon Slater for my breakout star in 2026.
I like that one, Leon Slater, the youngest in charge. That one, I was thinking about him, but I didn't want to get too, I wanted to follow my own little basic guideline, and I applied it to TNA, but I'm not going to discount it. But that's a great choice, bro, because, he could even win the NXT title off of Oba Femi and, at New Year's Evil. Oba Femi's prime for a call-up, so they might shock it and have Leon win it. So that's a good pick there. Fantastic pick with Leon Slater for your breakout star of 2026. And Jack, we'll stick with you because our next category that we'll be predicting on is Return to the Ring in 2026. And for this one, the only criteria was that they could not be or not have a match within that 2 to 3 year gap. I gave it within 2 to 3 years, just if you can find a name, if not, whatever. Well, that's a good time frame, 2 to 3 years. And last year, Jack, your pick actually did happen because we saw the return of AJ Lee back to the WWE. So that one's another one successful for Jack. So how are you going to follow that one in 2026 with who, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I had my answers earlier for Bold in ring with KO and Bryan Danielson, right? Those would be cheats. They don't follow the guidelines. But I got another name that I had to do the math, and I think it does follow the guidelines. We're actually coming close to 4 years. People have been it comes up every year or so. I think it might finally be ready. I'm going to go with Big E. It's another one of those neck injury things. Could be done, but it's not ruled out. And they did the whole New Day turn angle. That's been a disaster, right? Like over a year ago. Thought that was going to lead to him coming back. Now it's a little less obvious. It's a little quieter, but I don't know, man. I mean, I hope the best for him. I want him to do whatever he thinks is best and is healthy, but I would love to see him back personally. So if he is ready to go and he is cleared and he feels comfortable doing it, this is one of those, right? We say this is things we think will happen. They're not all things we want to happen. This is something that I want to happen as well. So I'm going with Big E.
That's a good one, man. You know, we've been saying that for a few years now. Like, is this the year? I hope this is the year. I hope maybe at this year's Rumble. And you know what? Why break tradition? Why stop that in this 2026? We want Big E. We hope Big E come back. So I hope you're right, man. Big E is a excellent pick. Pete, last year you picked Shane McMahon to return to the ring. And you know what? A lot of people on the service may be like, what the heck? Why is he picking Shane McMahon? Pete, you want to see McMahon in AEW? Well, listen.
There was a lane.
Let's
there
go
was
back.
A lane for it.
Let's go back to, you know, what does Jay also do? Let's go back, right? Let's go back. January 2025. There was a lot of rumblings, you know, is Shane McMahon involved in the Death Riders? There was the picture of Shane McMahon and Tony Khan at the airport. Tony Khan meeting up with the Young Bucks, you know. There was, you know, it's not like my boy P pulled that out of his behind and said, you know what, I want Shane. No, my guy, you know what? My guy had context. My guy had an actual reason of say Shane. Unfortunately, it didn't come true. So Pete, are you going to stick with the wackiness? Are you going to ask for another McMahon to come back, Pete? I got to know, who's your return to the ring in 2026, Pete?
All right. I struggled with this one. I came up with one myself that's cheating a little, and then my brother came up with one that is very wacky, and I'm going to shout him out and throw it in here. So the one that I came up with that's cheating a little bit is Wardlow. He tried to come back earlier this year. He got injured on his return, so that wasn't a match. His last match was March 2024, so I'm about 2.5 months off of the 2-year mark, but I figured it was close enough. So I think Wardlow will finally come back, hopefully have a healthy run. Then shout out.
They ain't gonna like that one.
Ain't nothing wrong with Wardlow. Well, then shout out my brother Logan. Frank D on YouTube. He said Don Callis will return to the ring. And I said, you know what? Don Callis has made so many enemies over the past few years. So many people want to punch him in the face. I could very well see there being some sort of, if I beat this member of the Don Callis family, I get a match with Don Callis, or a tag match that Don Callis has to compete, something goofy like that. It's wrestling. It makes sense in my mind. I like that answer. So I'm going Wardlow and Don Callis. And Wardlow returned, I believe, joining the Don Callis family this year. So maybe it'll be in the same match.
Hey, man, I like that one there. Both are tied to the Don Callis family. You got Wardlow and Don Callis himself returning to the ring in 2026, Pete. I like that one, going bold with Don Callis. But it can very well happen. And for me, for Don Lucha, ladies and gentlemen, in 2025, well, I got mine half right, half wrong, depends on how you look at it, because I said either Nikki or Brie or both of them together were going to return to the ring in 2026, and they did. Nikki did return to the WWE at the Royal Rumble. She's been having a run where she hasn't really won anything, but she's constantly getting title shots, so she is in a prominent role. But Brie has not returned. She's still, you know, just at home. You know, being a mother, being retired, being a legend at home. But I also said that they were going to return to AEW. So I won't give myself credit for that one. I got that wrong. So for this year, I'm going to try to right my wrongs. And my return to the ring in 2026, I got 3 names for you. You guys didn't touch them. So I'm just going to say them one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, my first name, Ruby Soho, I think is returning to the ring in 2026. I think it's about time. Number 2, somebody we haven't seen in some time, somebody still in AEW. And I hope, kind of just like Jack, you know, every year we've been talking, maybe this is the year, maybe not. But I think maybe in 2026 we finally get it. The return of Keith Lee. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, it was just announced, maybe not officially, but it was reported that WWE is headed back to San Juan, Puerto Rico for a premium live event. And so for my last prediction and for return to the ring in 2026, I am going with a Bad Bunny return to the WWE. How do y'all feel about Bad Bunny returning in 2026? Y'all want to see it?
I'm down. I mean, I didn't know they announced that they'd be back in Puerto Rico for a pay-per-view. So, I mean, Bad Bunny always impresses me when he wrestles, and you can tell he loves the business and he puts a lot of effort in. So I'm always down for him to come back.
Jack, how you feel about Bad Bunny, bro?
Honestly, same way as Pete. I've enjoyed every time he's been on programming. I don't have much else to add. No, I'd be stoked to see all those people back. Bad Bunny as well, even though he's like a celebrity wrestler. I'd be happy to see him come back again for a match.
Yeah, man, that's somebody. I think that's probably out of the three, maybe the most realistic to happen. But who knows, right? Who knows? But those are returns to the ring. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next one. And this one is also my favorite part of these predictions because it's the one where people jump from one team to the other. But this time we did a little switcheroo, a little bit of a change to this because we usually do it from AEW to WWE and vice versa. But for this year, I wanted to, switch things up. I didn't want to just have it be from one to the other. So I just left it at just AEW and WWE biggest free agent signings for each company respectively. So we'll start things off with the WWE. Pete, in 2025, your prediction was that Dragon Lee was going to be leaving. Or sorry, your prediction was that Ricky Starks, Penta, and Rey Fenix were all going to be leaving AEW and joining the WWE. So in 2026, Pete, who do you see as the WWE big free agent signing?
Well, I'm going to cross these two off the board right away because Jack already brought them up earlier. I think Joe Hendry and Leon Slater are going to be easy poaches if they're not signed to WWE already. They'll be there. Chris Jericho, I think, is another obvious one. So I'll throw him out too so we can get some more creative answers. So my other one, this just came out of news this week, and I really don't want to see it happen. I don't want to lose my demon, but I think it might happen. I think David Finlay, joined by Clark Connors, will be headed to WWE. Clark Connors, I feel like he'd fit in well on any roster he's in, but David Finlay, his dad's there. Apparently his younger brother's there, which I just learned. So maybe David Finlay will go from the War Dogs to Chase U. I don't know. I would much rather see him in AEW, but I kind of have a feeling we're going to see Finlay and Connors in WWE, but hopefully they'll kill it if that does actually happen.
Oh, okay. I like that one, Pete. You're going with New Japan losing David Finlay and Clark Connors and having them join the WWE. Jack, last year you also said Ricky Saints. You said Ricky Saints, Ricky Starks. You actually doubled up because that was also your prediction in 2024, Ricky Starks, and you got that one right. He is in the WWE now. So who are you saying in 2026 is the WWE's big free agent signing?
Yeah, like Pete said, there's the obvious. Come on, baby, Chris Jericho. We're not gonna do that one. I'm going with another one. I'm not a huge fan really, so it doesn't matter to me. I know she does have some fans, and I guess her contract is finally coming up. She hasn't been AWTV in forever, and I think she'd fit well in WWE. We're going to go with the Doctor, DMD, Britt Baker. Look at Pete. He's celebrating over there. Might tune into some Fed Weekly TV if we see her show up. I'm going with Britt Baker. I think since the start of AEW, you can kind of see, she'd fit in WWE too. And the way AEW's women's division has kind of evolved, almost past her in a way, where she used to be like the crown jewel, and now I don't think people really want to see her, respectfully. I do think, though, a fresh start in WWE, she could be interesting to people over there. It'd be a fresh start for her too, right? So, and the contract is apparently up, according to my research. So we're going to go with Britt Baker. I think it's realistic. I think it could happen.
Okay, so you're going with the Dr. Britt Baker. And that's actually somebody I had on my list. I had a couple names there. That was the only one that was touched. So I'll say off the other ones that are on my list because last year I actually said, where we're going to see the likes of, Miro and Malachi Black. They were going to return to WWE, and they did. But this year, I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to say some more. I got a few names for you. Such as, we mentioned her a little bit earlier, Anna Jay. I think Anna Jay is going to be jumping over to WWE, specifically NXT. I also think both Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn will also be joining with her. Private Party will also be joining the WWE. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, after all, it's all said and done, after all the legal, mumbo jumbles dealt with and everything, ladies and gentlemen, Andrade will return to the WWE in 2026. You can book it. You heard it here first. You bet your ass Andrade is going back to the Fed.
Bro, you want that to happen, bro? What?
Hey, man, you never know with Andrade, right? You never know what's going to happen with him. It very well, out of all the names, that was the one that was, what, for a funny bit, I'll throw it in there, but that could be the only one that actually could very well happen. Who fucking knows?
Hey, we had some good sources last year.
Yeah,
pretty spot on.
Yeah, right. We did. Well, you know what? Let's keep it.
A week later.
Let's keep it up, man. Let's keep it up. And let's move over to the AEW side of things. The AEW big free agent signings. And you know what? Let me go. I'll go last. I'll save mine for last. I want to see what you guys have first. You know what, Pete? Last year, your prediction for AEW, as I said a little bit earlier, was Dragon Lee. You said Dragon Lee was going to the dub from the WWE. So in 2026, who's your big AEW free agent signing, bro?
So I have two. Well, one is kind of a little more vague, but I'll go first. For WWE, I said they're picking up David Finlay and Clark Connors specifically. I have Drilla Maloney, who I think will bet on himself, go a separate path. He's got all the tools, and I think he is not going to want to be in another stable shuffle the second he gets into a new company. I think him converting from a junior heavyweight to a heavyweight shows he is all in on himself as a single star. So I think he doesn't follow the rest of the War Dogs to the WWE, and I think he goes to AEW. My next pick, I think I'll give a name, but I think in general, AEW is going to get a major Stardom signing this year. I don't really know contracts, but I thought Starlight Kid, or this one even more so, Bazilla, I think would be great. She competed in AEW already, and she really impressed in that 4-way match she was in. She has a lot of eyes on her in the US now, so I'm going with Bazilla or another big time Stardom player is going to sign to AEW.
Okay, I like that, Pete. And that could we can look back on this a year from now and be like, Pete, who told you that? How'd you get that info? Because that could very well happen, man. That could very well happen. But there you go. Those are Pete's picks there. Jack, last year, you said Kevin Owens was going to be joining AEW in 2026. Who is your big free agent signing?
Yeah, I don't know how realistic this one is, to be honest, but logistically it could line up, and it would be big. It would be big for AEW. It's a bit of a bold prediction because it kind of seems like he's that would nice try, pal. 5-year Legends deal signed, but no. But you're close, Pete. You're close. You're close for sure. This guy claims it's going to be his last year in wrestling, but sometimes, you get the itch. You want to go hang out with your buddies one last time, put on some bangers. I'm going with AJ Styles. We get 1 or 2 more years of the Phenomenal One, this time under the All Elite umbrella.
God, I hope so.
Leaves WWE on good terms, comes back for his Hall of Fame induction a couple years down the road. But I think we'll see AJ Styles in AEW.
You dirty dog, man. That was mine there. That was going to be my big one. But That's a good pick, man. That's a good pick because I think that can very well. I actually have that lined up to happen, and we'll get into that in just a little bit here. But you know what? My biggest signing for AEW this year, because last year I said that the big AEW signing, well, if you want to call him that, was going to be Giovanni Vinci and Apollo Crews. And well, Apollo Crews tore his ACL and is still in WWE, and Giovanni Vinci went through a character change. Lost his job, lost his tag team, got his ass whooped on TV, like one of the worst beatdowns ever. And then we haven't heard from bro since. Oh, and then like I said, he lost his job, and then we haven't heard from bro since. I hope he's doing well. But that didn't happen. And so in 2026, my big AEW signing was going to be AJ Styles. But the next name in line, I think joining her best friend in AEW, I think we get Bayley over to All Elite Wrestling in 2026. Pete, you say you can see that happening. How come, bro? How come?
I feel like Bayley has just been directionless for maybe even, I was going to say the last year, but it might even be years at this point. I feel like anytime they do have something for her, it doesn't last. And I think she's a veteran now. Like, we all saw her come up through NXT, so it's almost hard to think of some of these people as being veterans, but they really are, and I think she'd be a huge asset to the AEW locker room, and I think she'd put on some great matches there.
And I really hope that happens, man, because Bayley, like you said, I think she's underutilized. I think, I just hope it's not one of those cases of like a what if, or like a case of, man, it's too little too late, you know. I hope I would say now's the perfect time, and so I hope that really does happen. But I'm going with Bayley to jump over to AEW in 2026. Speaking of Bayley and what happened with Bayley just not that long ago, Bayley was the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match. And so next up, we're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble matches, specifically though, the winners of the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches. And so Jack, with you last year, you actually chose both John Cena and Charlotte Flair as your Royal Rumble winner. So you went 1 for 2 there. So in 2026, how are you following that up? Who are your Royal Rumble winners for this coming year?
Yeah, I'll give you my men's first. And I don't like this answer. I unfortunately just do think it's going to happen. I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's the direction we're going in. I think it's going to be Roman Reigns on the men's side. I think WWE has hinted very clearly we're doing Roman Cody 3. Great main event, WrestleMania worthy match. Does Roman need to win the Rumble? We have this debate every year about guys who should win the Rumble or the Chamber, right? Does Roman need to win the Rumble? No. But I think they're going to run it. Roman and Cody have had 2 great matches at Mania so far. They want to do the trilogy. Not totally against it, but I think Roman wins the Rumble. I think it's the cleanest setup for that. And then the women's side, it was tough, man. I'm looking at the roster. WWE has done a good job where they do, unlike the men's Rumbles every year that feel very top heavy, you think there's like 2 to 4 names that can win it. A lot of times in the women's Rumble, it feels a lot more open. There's a lot of people on an equal playing field, but it's maybe closer to like 10 names sometimes. They have a lot of main event players. But with the way things are shaking up right now, big time match, I think they may want to run back. And somebody who has not won a Rumble yet, as far as I know, off the top of the dome, and could be deserving of the accolade, I'm going to go with Io Sky. She's been solid for them all year long. You could argue she was in the WWE Match of the Year, WWE Women's Match of the Year, WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year, even, maybe. I know the Lucci Awards had disagreements on that, with Stephanie McHare winning. But I think Io Sky overall, in my opinion, best in-ring performer in the WWE Women's Division. So I say give her the Rumble win, strap her into maybe one of those main events, but not just a title match. This might come back later. I won't spoil anything, but strap her into a main event spot at WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. So you're going with the Io Sky and you're going with Roman Reigns as your Royal Rumble winners. Pete, last year you said Bianca Belair for the women's, and your big one for the men was the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment, the final boss, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That didn't really happen, right?
I was wrong. I'm okay with that one.
Pete, in 2026, who are your Royal Rumble winners?
So I'm gonna start with the men. I had two. I didn't know which I was gonna pick. One of them was Roman Reigns. I feel like whoever I don't pick is winning the Elimination Chamber. So for fact of keeping some answers different, I'll let Jack have Roman. And my pick to win the men's Royal Rumble match is Braun Breaker. I have a feeling I believe Braun is facing CM Punk for the world title. It's sometime in January. I think Punk's
Next
gonna
Monday.
win next Monday. I think Punk's gonna win that, but Breaker's gonna come back, win the Rumble, and win the rematch against Punk at WrestleMania, and that's where he'll win the world title. So I got Braun Breaker winning the men's Royal Rumble, and for the women's Royal Rumble, this one I actually was opposite of Jack. I came up with an answer to this one very quickly. My pick again for the second year in a row is Bianca Belair. I feel like natural storyline progression, Bianca has been out of action due to an injury from Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is looking like she's going to head into Mania with the WWE Women's Championship. So I think Bianca returning in the Royal Rumble, choosing Jade, and then them having their climax of the feud at WrestleMania would be a pretty natural storyline progression there. So I got Bianca Belair and Braun Breaker for the 2026 Royal Rumble winners.
I like that, Pete. First time winner Braun going with Bianca, and actually Bianca was on my final list that I had from the women's Royal Rumble winners. You know, last year my prediction was that the winner of the women's Royal Rumble was going to be Becky Lynch. Obviously, that didn't happen. It was Charlotte Flair, and my men's was also the same as Jack, John Cena. That also didn't happen, but in 2026, I think that the women's Royal Rumble winner will be first time winner. I think it'll be Liv Morgan walking out as the Royal Rumble winner.
That's a good one.
And for the men's, this one was a little tricky because I was also thinking Roman. You know, I was also thinking maybe WWE goes full on WWE. And they say, you know what, why don't we do Brock Lesnar? And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe not.
What's scary is they're in Saudi too.
That's why I was thinking that.
These like Roman Lesnar names are so likely.
That's why he came up, and I was thinking, Sami Zayn maybe as well. But ultimately, I'm just trying to think of based off what's going on currently on TV and everything. And Jack made a good point with the way things are looking with Roman versus Cody 3 and everything. But I think that's too damn easy. I think that's just too damn easy, right? So I think the person walking out the Royal Rumble winner in 2025 or 2026 is another first-time winner. I think Gunther actually walks out the Royal Rumble winner, continuing that streak going on to WrestleMania to face CM Punk, I think, in a title match at WrestleMania. So I'm going with Gunther, and I'm going with Liv Morgan as the Royal Rumble winners.
You may have convinced me with Gunther. Because Gunther needs his win back over Punk from SummerSlam and Cody from, was it Crown Jewel?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. Gunther could win and face either of them to get his win back. That I didn't even think about that.
He was on my list. I almost think I like that.
I mean, from Cena too. I'm not going to change my answers, but those are both very good.
I actually think 2026 is going to be, well, in WWE terms and everything, of course. But I just think it's going to be a fantastic year for Gunther. I just think he has an infinite amount of directions to go. With the AJ retirement looming, eventually, Jack's favorite guy, Chris Jericho, is going to be coming back to WWE for, one last run. So that story will be looming as well. So Gunther, and then as well the chase
home.
As you said with Cody, as you said with Punk, there's a lot of different avenues that they can really explore with Gunther.
That's a good pick. I didn't think of.
I like the Gunther pick a lot more than my pick. He was on my list. I just didn't know if I saw it or not.
Well, I'm looking at my Mania main events, and neither have Gunther, and I think both of them should. But I'm gonna keep what I have.
Let's stick with it. Actually, let's stick with the WrestleMania main events because our next one's actually the WrestleMania 42 main events. And you know what? We don't have to get too much into it, but I am asking for what your night 1 main event is and what your night 2 main event is. So, Jack, I will start it with you because last year in 2025, you said that your WrestleMania main events were going to be night 1, Punk versus Roman Reigns with the World Heavyweight title involved. And night 2, Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, title for title. So in 2026, Jack, how are you going to follow those two matches up with your predictions?
Pete looks a little confused. I just meant
Title
the
for
Rock.
title?
The Rock's
That's
stupid people's
okay.
title
Okay.
bout. Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't
Yeah.
totally sure. Okay.
Yeah, mine are gonna tie in pretty simply with my Rumble winners. Honestly, I'll keep it simple. Night 2 main event, Cody Roman 3. Night 1 main event, Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer for the women's world title. I think we've only seen it that one time. Fantastic, worthy of a rematch, worthy of the main event stage. Man, I know you have your other potential matches like CM Punk and Gunther. You're gonna have your stupid Brock shit, but I'll be honest, bro. Like, this is another year where it's a good spot for the women to main event. You don't have the extra scene to feel the need to put Cena in a main event spot. I understand you got your politic demons, Roman and Cody, Punk and Seth will probably be back around. And I love those guys, I do, but with all due respect, bro, we don't got to see their old asses in the Mania main events. And that's coming from a guy who loves CM Punk. He can fight Braun Breaker to open the show. He can have a banger with Gunther to open the show. Put the women in the main event, man. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer is a guaranteed banger for your night 1 main event. So I'm putting them there. Does that mean the game will do it? I don't know.
Hey, those are fantastic matches, Jack, and the way you pitched them right now, I'm down for it. I hope it happens, man. So I hope you're actually right there. But Pete, last year, your WrestleMania main events were a little bit more out there, especially for night 2. Night 1 was actually something I was hoping was happening, and I'm hoping it happens again or maybe it happens this year sometime soon. But your night 1 main event was Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, what arguably probably would be the biggest women's match in WWE history. And on the main event side of night 2, the men's side of things, you had a triple threat match between The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. So in 2026, are you sticking with the wacky ones or you got something else? What are you going with, Pete?
No, so I'm kind of going off. See, I agree with everything Jack said, but I don't think, again, I think the women are going to get snubbed. I feel like it's so easy to have some combination of Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, Rhea Ripley, give or take a few other people. So easy to have them in the main event because they would absolutely steal the show in that any spot on the card, really, but so deserving of a main event. But again, like Jack said, with all these old heads who are in the main events right now, I just don't see them
It's so
not
bad, bro.
closing every show, and it's getting ridiculous, quite frankly. And even Bianca winning my Rumble, I don't think Bianca Belair versus Jade would close a WrestleMania. I think if the women were to main event, it would be for the world title with a combination Jack mentioned, plus maybe Rhea Ripley or something, but not this year. Like, it's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, it should happen. So my night 1 main event is CM Punk defending the world title against Braun Breaker, and my night 2 main event, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, number 3. Pass. Sorry, hard pass on Mania this year if this is the road we're headed. Like, I don't know, man. It's not exciting. But that's what it's looking like. But also, I feel like whenever the road looks obvious for better or for worse, they totally fuck it up and it becomes random triple threats and this and that. So who knows? Because last year's was a very obvious card and we got like none of it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna go Roman Cody 3 for night 2, Punk Breaker night 1.
Okay, well, you got Stunners and Stoners saying Joe Gacy is going to be in the main event actually in 2026.
Of course he thinks that. He is something else. I don't know what Stunners and Stoners obsession with Joe Gacy is, but every day in the group chat, all this guy wants to talk about, you see that Joe Gacy match? No one saw that Joe Gacy match, dude. No one saw it. And now he's like, give it up, man. He's not getting pushed in WWE. He's not going to AEW. I don't even know if he's signed anywhere right now. Like, what?
He also
Go,
said
Joe
he said
Gacy.
he said he def watching Mania. I'm guessing he's talking about you, and you're gonna be watching WrestleMania this year.
He's
shout out
watching
the,
it too,
shout out the
dude,
wrestling
and,
friends. I will be at the WrestleMania watch party. He's absolutely
Yes, sir.
correct.
Yes, sir.
Joe Gacy is actually a tag team champion on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yes, sir.
right now.
Y6. He's part of the Y6.
Oh,
Pete.
that's right. That's right. Sorry, I'm not a Joe Gacy sicko like the guy. In
Yeah,
chat,
for
so-
sure. No, I'm not either. I'm just letting you know. I got
That's a good
stats,
reminder.
you know, we got the-
actually,
yeah.
I actually forgot about that. Okay.
no
Fair
disrespect to Mr. Gacy, but
No, not at all. Obviously, he has some fans.
Fucking
He's got
Gacy.
fans.
And he
Sure,
used to
yeah.
be pretty sick. But
sicko, AEW perhaps.
Sicko.
Hey,
All right. Well, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's end it here because it's my prediction for the WrestleMania main event for both nights. In 2025, I said and I predicted that it was going to be a combination of night one, Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title, and night two, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. It looks like I was right, at least with one, man. At least I got one, but that match was a fucking stinker, bro.
Was it worth it?
Not at all. Not at all. It was not worth being right. I'd rather be wrong than be right and watch that match again.
shout out the SummerSlam main event though. They did.
Yeah,
redeem them.
that match was a lot better. That match was a lot better indeed. And then I wish it just ended at the bell and then the pay-per-view ended. And then nothing else happened after. But of course, they always had to one-up themselves in the wrong department.
we
Sounds like John Moxley, a little bit of John Moxley in you, buddy.
Yeah, right. They sound the same. They look the same too.
But in 2026, ladies and gentlemen, my WrestleMania main events for night one, I have CM Punk defending the World Heavyweight title against the Royal Rumble winner Gunther. And in night two, I'm going with Pete's prediction. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, number 3, the trilogy for the undisputed WWE title. Simple, but I think it's exactly what's going to happen in 2026. So let's move on to the next one. Stunners and Stoners in the chat saying, Don Lucha's such a good booker. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. I think it's simple but effective. Simple but effective. Let's move on to the next one here. And for this one, folks, we're actually just going to do quick. Just give me the 2 names. We don't even have to get to it because we got bigger and better after this one. But real quick, Pete, who are your men and women's Money in the Bank winners in 2026? Who is it?
So I have one I'm super excited about, and one makes me want to jump off a cliff. One I'm excited about, I have Roxanne Perez winning the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I feel like she's already solidifying herself, and by the time that pay-per-view comes around over summer, I think, perfect time. My men's. Maybe my least favorite wrestler ever. I often call him the worst to ever do it. But I've had a feeling he's going to become a world champion. I'm surprised we've had to wait that it's taken this long. I'm going with Logan Paul. I hate Logan Paul, but I know his world title run is coming. I know it's coming. And I mean, Money in the Bank fits everything they book him to be. So I have Logan Paul winning the men's Money in the Bank, unfortunately.
Okay, well, for me in 2026, for the men's side, I'm actually sticking with the same group, just a different member. I'm going in 2026. Braun Breaker is actually going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And for the women's, I'm actually going to go out there and say Sol Ruka will be the women's Money in the Bank winner. I'm just throwing out 2 names who I think could possibly happen with a little bit of a maybe youth resurgence with all the NXT call-ups. Who knows? Maybe it's just for show, but I think those are the good 2 Money in the Bank winners. Jack, finish us off with the Money in the Bank winners. Who are your 2 in 2026?
Yeah, this one's always hard, so I actually did. I'll put my disclaimer. This is actually 2 that I would just like to see, and I think they have a decent chance, but the Money in the Bank always seems like it gets fucked up, especially on the men's side. I'm more hopeful about my women's pick. Same as Pete, going with Roxanne Perez. Storyline trajectory she's on kind of makes sense. It could tie in if Liv Morgan gets the belt on her at some point later in the year, which could also happen again. Roxanne, I feel pretty good about. Men's one, don't feel good about it, especially after what Pete just said. He's so right, unfortunately. But I'm going to stick with my pick. It'd be awesome It ain't happening. We're going with Javon Evans, Money in the Bank.
Wow.
Just strap a rocket onto him. Really quick, I know we said not a ton of explanations, but I just thought of this. I'm sorry. We were rambling about the old heads earlier. You look at WWE right now, they do need to start. Here we go with some new stars.
It's like you're punished for youth. Like
Yeah.
everyone needs to get years and years of reps, and they just won't put titles on the young people for some reason. They just won't do it.
He's very good. He's very young. You could put a title on him right now, and I wouldn't be mad. They got to go back to what they used to do. I think of like older. I think of younger champions from back in the day, like Batista, Orton, Cena. All had to work some kinks out. All got given the rocket fairly early, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's like sink or swim. Like
in my humble opinion, right now, Javon Evans is better in ring than any of those guys were when they got their first world titles. So
absolutely,
I don't see why not.
No, hey, I hope that one happens, specifically that one, because I'm a big Javon Evans guy. I love Javon Evans matches. Anytime he has a big or like any match that's available to watch and everything, I'm trying to watch it. You know, I've been trying to go back and watch his stuff from the indies and all, because I just know there's a lot out there. He's just somebody that I'm looking out for in 2026 and beyond. So I am not mad at that one. I absolutely love the Javon Evans pick there for you guys. For me, I actually already said mine. Yeah, so we all have good ones. I like that one. Money in the Bank. Now let's move over to a little bit more Pete speed here. A little bit more what Pete likes to watch on a daily. You know, me and Jack, we watch it, but we're not as sicko as Pete may say. But let's go over to the AEW side of things.
Because man, I heard stunners and stoners saying Pete's not a real sicko. So
I did hear that. You know, it's a big debate. Yeah, you know, who's the biggest sicko? We're gonna find out if Pete's prediction make him the biggest sicko of the bunch, because our first AEW prediction is going to be the AEW All In 2026 main event. Pete, you said your All In 2025 main event was going to be Will Ospreay versus Adam Copeland.
Yep.
We didn't get that, Pete. We didn't get that. And I don't think, well, who knows? Maybe we get Ospreay back in time. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out. But in 2026, Pete, how are you going to follow up Ospreay versus Copeland with your prediction?
So, you know, these AEW predictions are tough because, you know, WWE, it's like Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank are all kind of within the first half of the year. So you can really use trajectory right now. Whereas these AEW predictions, all in 8 or 9 months into the year, C2 a whole year from now. The C2 just ended days ago. So these are a little harder to predict, I think, because you really got to think ahead. So my all-in 2026 main event, I have MJF still being the world champion. He just won it. I think an 8-month title reign is not crazy, especially coming after two short world title reigns. So I have MJF defending his World Heavyweight Championship against, again, Will Ospreay. I think he'll be back in time, and I think he'll be back right on time, and he'll return to challenge MJF. They had that historic 60-minute Dynamite match that was very polarizing, but I think, especially with the injuries of Ospreay, I think you got to crown him sooner rather than later and get that world title run in. Just, you know, with the way he wrestles, injuries are imminent, unfortunately. But he's the best on the planet, and he's one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time in ring. So I think Ospreay is going to get crowned at All in 2026.
I like that one, Pete. I like that one a lot. You know, you actually got somebody in the chat saying Ospreay versus Copeland. Heh. I'll let you guess who said that.
Listen, a year ago, it made sense, and he hadn't returned from his shredded ankle yet. So,
Jack, in 2025, your all-in main event was Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. Ooh, and you only got half of that right because it was Hangman.
Would have been a banger, though.
It would have been a banger, indeed. It would have been a banger. But we didn't get that. You were close. But close doesn't get you the right answer. So in 2026, who is your prediction for the main event of All In?
Yeah, it won't be that exciting to announce. The match is going to be exciting, but you already heard it. It already got sold to you. I had Will Ospreay versus MJF. for the AEW World Championship. I think Pete's on point there. Can't see MJF losing it anytime soon. We just had 2 shorter title reigns. When you think about it, it's been a while now since MJF's been champ, and he's one of their top guys. AEW did it right. They put the belt on him young. He still is pretty young. Top heel, big bad guy. And I mean, in case you've forgotten, like a lot of people have short-term memory when it comes to wrestling stuff, but Will Ospreay, very, very, very over. Like Pete said, one of, if not the best in the world right now. Will be a massive baby face, especially when he comes back from an injury. Like I'm thinking like when Cena came back from an injury in 2008, like that level of over. So it's the clear booking path. They don't have to do it because there's plenty of great main eventers in AEW, and it's a little harder to predict because we're so far away and their trajectory isn't as obvious at the start of the year. So I tend to have trouble with these two, but I think massively over babyface returning from injury, dastardly heel champion who by August of next year it's going to be, oh my god, who's going to dethrone this prick, you know? And they've already had some good in-ring stuff together. So I think they're 2 big enough names to main event that stadium show. It's back in England, in case some of the people in the chat did not know. Next year, Will Ospreay will be a hometown boy getting his first AEW World Championship. I think it would be incredible, so that's what I'm going with.
I like that. So you guys are sticking with the same one. For me, I went a little bit of a left field because I don't know if this is gonna happen, but it could very well happen. Fuck. I had two different matches, 2 different variations of this match happening. One of them, and I'm gonna give you the one that I don't think it's gonna happen, but I thought there was a chance that we might see Kazuchika Okada versus AJ Styles run it back from last year and all their legendary matches again at this year in coming in 2026, but this time with the AEW title involved.
Do you mean Kenny?
Kenny and Okada. Kenny and Okada run it back again in 2026. But I don't think that's happening. What I think is actually going to happen, and I convinced myself last night and early this morning, I think with the AEW title involved, I think Kenny Omega will walk into All In 2026 as the AEW World Champion and be defending it against the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And I think that's going to be my All In 2026 main event. Let's keep it going with the AEW side of things here. As we just heard Pete say, we just wrapped up with this tournament a few days ago. We just saw Jon Moxley become the winner of the Continental Classic, the Continental Champion. And so in 2026, Jack, who do you see walking out Continental Champion or Continental Classic winner in 2026?
Yeah, super hard to predict just because it's a year away. I think last year I said Takeshita, right? We're close.
Yes, you did. You did say Takeshita. You said semifinals.
Yeah, it's always a big name, I feel like. We've had Eddie Kingston, Okada, and Moxley. Eddie Kingston, not lately, but guys who tend to be more around the main event scene. He really was, I think, at the time it happened. And I think that'll be the case again next year. And I'm going to go with a guy who came and fell short just by a bit this year. I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher because I do think he's a future world champ. I just don't see it. Again, AEW is harder to predict. Looking at the year, we're talking about things like Will Ospreay's return, MJF's title run. I actually don't think I see the belt on him this year, but I think this is kind of what you give him, and then that will propel him to the next step. I probably have him as a world champ by 2027, so it's hard to predict, but I'll go with Kyle Fletcher for the C2 next year.
I like that, bro, and for every reason that you said, I think the same thing is going to happen with Konosuke Takeshita in AEW. My pick last year was Kyle Fletcher, and you chose my guy. Last year, your pick was Konosuke Takeshita, and now I'm picking your guy. But I think Takeshi's going to win it, bro. I don't know. I just think it's going to be the year, man. I thought he should have won it this year, but after watching it and how it all unfolded and everything, I just think Jon Moxley was the right call. But this year, or 2026, please crown Konosuke Takeshita, man. That's my guy. That's who I hope gets it, bro. Without a doubt. Shout out Stunners and Stoners, man. Shout out Stunners and Stoners for the sub, my boy. I appreciate that so much. Shout out the Gifted as well. Thank you for the Gifted, brother. You're much appreciated. Stunners and Stoners, the number one sicko that I know. Stunners and Stoners. Pete, go ahead. Who is your Continental Classic winner in 2026?
Well, first off, I'm shocked Stunners is here because I know NXT's on. But so Kyle Fletcher was a. I had two names. One of them was Kyle Fletcher. I mean, echo everything Jack said. He's easily going to be, I think, a world champion within the next year and a half, maybe 2 years at most. So I'm going to go with my other pick. I'm going to go with someone who hasn't been said yet. I'm going to say Darby Allin. I feel like Darby is someone who's always being pushed, always heading towards the main event scene, but I feel like the world title scene next year is going to be very MJF into Will Ospreay. I don't think there's going to be room for Darby Allin. And there were all those rumors that Darby would be the one to beat Moxley, which ended up being Hangman. So who knows what those original plans were. So I see this as a really good crowning moment for Darby Allin that isn't the world title. So I'm going to go with Darby Allin for winning the 2026 C2.
I like it. 3 valid picks from us 3 there for the C2 winners. Very good there. Stunners is in the chat, Pete, and he said, Pete has a post saying, "Don't hinder the gender on Instagram." ... Any comments, Pete? Any comments?
See, I always talk about stuff happening right now, and then he talks about stuff from 2018. So, yeah, don't hinder gender. You're damn right.
Oh my god, I love this rivalry.
I'm kind of getting sick of arguing with fake sickos, honestly. Can we just
Bravo, some might say.
You know what? He says your past defines his future.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me for the boy I used to be. Judge me for the man I am today.
That's a good one, Pete. That's a bar right there, man. Let's keep it going though. The full AEW one here, fellas. I need to know, who are your 2 AEW World Champions to end 2026, Pete? In 2025, you said to end the year, your AEW World Champions were going to be Mercedes Moné and Will Ospreay. In 2026, are you following up with those 2 names, or you got something new for us?
I could just repeat, but I'm not gonna. I don't think I need much explanation based on what I've already said. For the men's world championship, I'm going Will Ospreay. I think he gets crowned at All In, and he has a pretty good lengthy reign. And I talked about her way at the beginning of the episode. I have Megan Bayne closing the year as the women's world champion. She is also my breakout star for next year. I feel like her breakout will come in the second half of next year, at least for the main event picture, and she'll be the world champ by the end of the year. Sorry, Luch, but back to the drawing board,
man.
pal.
You took my man. I thought it did some sneaky work with picking Megan Bayne. Maybe nobody could pick her now, but that's a good pick, Pete. That's a great pick. You even made me rage right now. That's how great of a pick that was. Going with Megan Bayne, going with Will Ospreay to end the year as champions. Jack, for 2025, you said it was going to be Mercedes Moné as well, and also Will Ospreay. Are you following that as well, or you got something new?
Maybe he wasn't wrong. Maybe he was just early. I'll double dip for half of it. I am double dipping on Mercedes Moné because they're going to put the women's world title on at some point. Right? As you see Pete there, CEO. It's like undeniable. I do think she is probably the biggest star, biggest name in AEW women's division right now. You guys brought up Bayley potentially going to AEW earlier in this live stream. That could tie into that in a way, right? I think it's Mercedes. I'm sticking with her. I'll change up the men's, though, because I do have it changed on paper. Realistically, with everything I've said tonight, I should be saying Ospreay. But fuck it. Fuck it. Maybe Ospreay doesn't need the longest reign. Maybe there's a bad guy out there. Maybe there's somebody equal, or in my personal opinion, somebody I like even a little more who can dethrone him at some point before year's end, maybe world's end. Give it to my boy. I'm going to go with Konosuke Takeshita. Fuck it. I had him written down as my other name to win the C2.
You think he'll still be a heel this time next year?
That's a good point. He could be. Here's the thing. I thought the Death Riders would be broken up by now, and they aren't. So you never know. You never know. We'll talk about that later, too, actually. But I'm going to go with Takeshita. Maybe even if he's not a heel, right? Maybe he just takes it off of him. I can see it being Ospreay, but I had Fletcher or Takeshita for my C2. I chose Fletcher, And then after that, I was like, you know what? Takeshita for world champ. I'll just push an agenda here. I just want it. That's my reasoning.
All right, so
This is things I want, not things I'm predicting, if I need to clarify.
Well, most of you guys took my damn names, really. So I'm just gonna go off the dome with two names that I think they can realistically walk out, because I had Megan Bayne, I had Takeshita as well. So you know what? I also had Mercedes Moné. But for the women's, I think to end the year, maybe this is the year we finally see Willow Nightingale get her world championship crown in AEW. I hope that's the case. I hope she walks out 2026 as the women's world champion. And on the men's side, walking out of 2026 as the men's AEW world champion, ladies and gentlemen, this rebel heart, ladies and gentlemen, that's fucking right. You think damn well I'm gonna pick Johnny Gargano? Come on, man, let's be real. No, ladies and gentlemen, to end the year 2026 or AEW world champion, I am going with the proto star, Kyle Fletcher. It was my men's 2026 or 2025 men's wrestler of the year. I don't see that momentum ending anytime soon. If anything, I see that trajectory continuing more and more and more. The sky's the limit for Kyle Fletcher, man. Who knows? Maybe even one day I see him lift up the undisputed WWE title. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But for 2026, I think Kyle Fletcher is ending the year as the AEW Men's World Champion. Let's go over to the WWE side of things real quick, and let's just name off the other WWE titles. Pete, who's your, without explanation, just give me the name, quick. Who's walking out 2026, the women's WWE champion? This is the SmackDown edition, the one that Jade Cargill is currently holding.
Rhea Ripley.
Jack, who is yours?
I have a name we mentioned earlier, Bianca Belair.
Ooh, okay. I'm going with Sol Ruka.
You're all in on Sol Ruka.
Yeah, I'm going all in on Sol Ruka in 2026, man. In the Raw side of things, the WWE Women's World Championship, this is the one that Stephanie Vaquer La Primera is currently holding. Jack, who is your pick?
Go with my GOAT, Io Sky.
Io, okay. Pete?
I am going to go with the Women's Money in the Bank winner that I predicted, Roxanne Perez.
Oh, okay. I am going with somebody who vastly improved in 2025 and has actually a little connection to Pete's pick, Roxanne Perez. I'm going with Raquel Rodriguez as the champion to end 2026. Sticking with the Raw side, the WWE Men's World Heavyweight Champion, the one CM Punk is currently holding. I am going to go with the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, to end the year as champion. Pete, who are you going with?
My Money in the Bank pick, Logan Paul.
Oh, I know you didn't like saying that. Yeah. Jack, who's yours?
I'm going with Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. Okay, and last but not least, the one that Cody is holding, the undisputed title. Pete, who is walking out with that one to end the year?
I have Roman beating Cody at Mania. I have no clue what a 2026 world title run for Roman Reigns would ever look like. But odds are he'll hold it till the end of the year. So Roman Reigns.
My easiest pick of the night was this one here because of that same reason that you said. Who the hell knows what happens once he wins it, but he is winning it. I am also going with Roman Reigns. Jack, are you completing the trifecta? You got something else?
No, I'll switch it up, and I don't know how the fuck this happens, but I'd love to see it happen. I think it looks beautiful. Get this one on Gunther. Gunther is the undisputed WWE champion.
I want to see that one for sure.
I like that.
All right, we got to the point here where we got some new categories in the mix here, some new ones that I just created here. So let's go with the first one. In 2026, who is going to be the shock champion of the year? So any championship, any company, who is somebody that you don't expect normally to hold a championship that will hold a championship in this coming year? Jack, who is your pick for shock champion? Oh, you don't want to go first? All right, let's go with Pete then.
I think Pete wanted to go first.
You wanted to go first. Let's go with Pete then. Pete, who is your shock champion for 2026?
I have Hyan and Maya World winning the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. They just got signed at World's End this weekend. They weren't even supposed to be signed, and I feel like them, taking that spot when they were needed, proving You know, they're good workers in the ring. They're easy to work with. Getting the contract, and then in less than a year's time, turning that into tag team gold. I think entering AEW as a solidified tag team with these belts will be. I think everything is just going to be perfect timing for them, and they'll win the tag team titles. Also, shout out to from my Graps Fantasy League, Katsuya Murashima. He's been tearing it up in New Japan, apparently, getting me a lot of points. I don't know if he's still got to go on excursion or what. I've never seen him wrestle, if I'm being honest, or if I have, I don't remember. But I think 2026 is we put something around his waist too. So those are my picks.
Oh, Pete, top 5 Katsuya Murashima matches, bro.
Come on, you had to read all of them off a cage match to give me the points for Fantasy League, so you already know them.
Hey, I love it, Pete. I love your shocker champion in 2026. Jack, I'll give you a little bit more time and I'll give you mine. In 2026, ladies and gentlemen, my shock champion will be newest or one of the newest members of the SmackDown Women's Division. I am going with the Bougie Bully. I'm going with Lash Legend will be a champion in 2026. Which championship that will be? Probably the United States champion, right? Maybe that they don't really have a direction for their championship, so that's probably the one most likely to happen. But that's when my pick. Jack, I gave you enough time, man. What's yours?
Yeah. Oh, I got one. All right. I'm gonna go. I'm still laughing at Pete's face when you said the bougie, whatever her nickname is, because he did not. I didn't know either, and you told us who you were picking before this recording. So I was like, "What is he talking?" What's her nickname? The Bougie Bully?
Yeah, the Bougie Bully. Come on, man. Tap in. It's Friday Night SmackDown, USA.
Hey, she's winning the belt next year. I'll be tapped in. All right, here we go. I'm going with. I don't think I want this to happen. I might have to beat some allegations after saying this, but a shocker champion, Stunners and Stoners still in the chat. It's one of his favorite wrestlers. I know for sure with how much he requests me to sing that damn song. I'll be popping bottles. We're going with Austin Theory. He came back. They look like they're going to push him in some aspect. World title, I don't think so. Will they throw a mid-card or a tag belt on him? I can see it. And maybe Stunners and Stoners will be popping bottles with a little championship celebration for his GOAT, Austin Theory.
Oh, I like that one. Hey, I almost went with Don Lucha, shock champion in 2026. Because Jack, who knows? I might dethrone you. I might dethrone you for that world championship. Who knows, man? Who knows? But those are our shock champions in 2026.
Ron.
We only have a couple left, ladies and gentlemen. We are winding down here. We only got a couple left. If you're still in here, we are winding down. But our next category is a new one as well. Who is walking out of 2026, ladies and gentlemen, as the Booker of the Year? This is a new category we haven't done yet. Jack, who is your Booker of the Year in 2026?
Oh, God.
What are you laughing at, Pete? Should I say Road Dogg? Nah, I'm going to go with the man who was Booker of the Year 2025. And I'll just stick with it because I hope WWE has a better year, right? I can't see it being anything astronomical. So we'll go with the easy answer. We'll go with the layup. It's not a bold prediction. We'll go with Tony Khan.
Okay, and can you also hit another one of those Austin Theories for my boy Stunners? I think he missed it, so he wants one.
Oh, he didn't hear it. I went him with the I'll be popping bottles.
Love it. I love
Sparkles and champagne.
Thank you, Jack. Well, your Booker of the Year, you're going with Tony Khan. Pete, I have a feeling I know who you're going with, but who is your Booker of the Year in 2026?
Same Booker of the Year as every year since 2019. He is going to continue his streak. It is Tony Khan.
Sticking with TK, good old TK, glorious TK. You know, I had a lot of names to choose from. I could have gone with TK. I could have gone with Triple H. Maybe they have a revival year. Maybe, maybe Real American Freestyle Eric Bischoff, gets that thing going. He wins Booker of the Year. I hear Vince Russo's back in the mix with a certain company out there in the Indies. Maybe Vince Russo walks out Booker of the Year. I even know Al Snow, OVW. You can't forget Al Snow, OVW. Undertaker in Triple A. Who knows?
I'm scared.
Big Sal over in CMLL. Who books for TNA? Who books for TNA? Man, maybe even TNA's booker, right? But
What about Brett Lauderdale? You think Brett Lauderdale's the Booker of the
GCW?
Year?
See, look at all these fantastic bookers, all these bookers, and I still haven't named the New Japan one. That tells you the state of New Japan in 2025. But no, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of names I could have chosen from, but in the end, my booker of the year for 2026 will be Shawn Michaels, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to take NXT back to where it was before. He is going to take NXT back up to where it was, to the #1 show on Weekly Wrestling TV, ladies and gentlemen. My pick is Shawn Michaels.
Hey, you know what? I'll say no hate to Shawn. I don't know if he's got the roster to do it.
Hey, don't
Especially
worry.
on the men's side of things.
2026.
Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
we gonna surprise some folks in 2026. We gonna surprise some folks. Don't worry.
No, I like
Yeah.
the boldness. I do want to point out here when you were naming all
What
those
the
bookers,
hell?
Pete was cringing when you named the CMLL booker. I found that interesting.
I was.
He
just
said this
holding
is
my
scary. Are you scared of CMLL, Pete?
No, I love CMLL.
Stunners and
Okay.
Stoners in the chat saying that Pete agrees on NXT being the top. I don't know why he's making a face. Shout out to the King. Shout out King TTV. What's up, Lucha? What up, bro? Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for being in here. Appreciate you being in here. Stunners and Stoners is still on Pete's
Can
neck.
we ban stunners mods?
You want to time him out? You want to time him out for a little bit?
I'm a mod. I'm a mod.
Yeah, you
Hold
have
on.
the
Get in
power.
there.
You have the power. So, moving on to another fun one here. Here we only down to our last two categories, but we have what is going to be the worst weekly TV show in 2026. Pete, take it away with your prediction.
SmackDown. That's moving to 3 hours. Hell no. SmackDown.
You're going with SmackDown. Jack, Stunners and Stoners is telling you to put the vape down because you're sick. But Jack, what is your prediction for worst weekly show on TV in 2026?
Yeah, no, SmackDown is the obvious choice. That move to 3 hours is scary, as some people we know might say. But I'll throw another one out there, too. Another one that might be a little dookie in 2026. And they're going to get rated by their partner. I'm going to go with TNA Impact. I can't see that getting any better. So we'll throw them out there in the mix, too.
Oof, okay. Well, you're going with TNA Impact. That was actually one of the final ones on my list as well. But in the end, ladies and gentlemen, I think in 2026, the worst weekly TV show is going to be the one that in 2025 was pretty good from start to finish of the year. But it's going to take a major step down because AEW Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the worst weekly wrestling show of the year. Things aren't gonna make sense. Things aren't gonna, make no story. What does my boy Petey Rosenberg say? The Death Riders have a story? You can add that to anything AEW, man. They just have nothing connecting, nothing with it. So you know what? Call me little Lucci Rosenberg.
Content. No.
Call me
It's just
Lucci Rosenberg, man. Call me Lucci Rosenberg.
You do not really think this. You do not really think this, Luch. Have some.
He
respect
didn't
for
have Tony
yourself.
Khan as his Booker of the
Have
Year.
some respect for yourself.
What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about?
Dynamite is the worst show of the year. Are you kidding me?
2026, P. We gotta
Maybe Collision. Maybe it's a
2026.
Collision year.
Yeah, maybe it's Collision, right? Maybe we get AEW Shockwave and that takes over. Man, who knows? But that's ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Rage Bait, right? Rage Bait. That's what they call it. Ladies and gentlemen, how can you not pick Friday Night SmackDown on the real? It's garbage. It's fucking booty. It's going out to 3 hours, which is going to make it 6. Actually, I say 60, but it's about like 30 with ads. So an extra 30 minutes of just straight caca poo poo on USA Network. That's just not worth it. It's going to continue. SmackDown, my prediction for the worst weekly show of the year. Shout out Danny, man. Shout out Danny for being in this chat. Much love, bro. You're a goat. Your brother's a GOAT. Big J's a GOAT, of course. So shout out Danny for being in the chat. Stunners and Stoners saying
Hey,
Luch
this ain't Danny who owes his chugs in fantasy football. Is it?
That's
Okay,
a different different family member, different family member. Stunners and Stoners saying he said Luch went to World's End and had an epiphany. Yeah, bro. I had to sit through that bang bang gang match and I had enough.
Hey, you know who wasn't at World's End?
Stunners and Stoners.
The fake sickos. But we got one more category left.
Let's get to it. Let's end it off here, ladies and gentlemen. Our final category of the night is the bold outside the ring prediction in 2026. So we started things off with our bold in-ring prediction. Now we're going to end things off with our bold outside the ring prediction. Jack, start us off with your bold outside the ring prediction in 2026.
Yeah, we're going outside first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, outside the ring. We already did inside
the ring prediction, and I don't got a necessarily script on how it might happen. It could happen multiple different ways, so we're gonna leave it open ended a little bit, right? But it's bold because I can see it happening, but I can also very much not see it happening. So it is bold. I'm going to go that maybe not from the company as a whole, but I'm gonna say Triple H gets either demoted or ousted from his head honcho creative spot he's in. There's rumblings, man. ESPN ain't happy, the fans ain't happy, but it's what we do, right? Will it actually happen? I have no idea, but there's a chance. So demoted, ousted, whatever it is. I don't think it's the end we see. It's the end of the game, the end of Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but I think he might need to move pieces around, maybe let somebody else take the reins. Not Road Dogg, though. Not Road Dogg.
Wow, Jack, I have to think. Do you have cameras in my room? Are you looking at my docs? Are you looking at my notes? Because, how is it that we had the same thing? Because for me, my bold outside the ring prediction, I also had and you know what? I'll explain a little bit more, but I had Triple H and Dwayne Johnson will, show that there is indeed a power struggle within both of them, which will eventually lead to Triple H being removed as the head of creative for the WWE, which will also lead to Mr. Drew McIntyre requesting his release and going to All Elite Wrestling. In all, that is my prediction. That is my bold one. It's kind of tied into Jack's, but all in all, power struggle, Triple H, see you later. The Rock may be in charge. Drew McIntyre, bye-bye, All Elite. That's my bold outside the ring prediction for 2026. Pete, you told us off air that you had a crazy one. You had a big one that you weren't so sure that you wanted to say, and I'm giving you full reins. Full green light. Pete, take it away. Floor is yours.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if I really want to say this one anymore. I'll say the easy one I had. I think Chris Jericho or AJ Styles' retirement tour will begin. Maybe not necessarily end in 2026. I don't think they're going to get the year-long treatment like Cena, but I feel like we're going to start getting, just from a marketing perspective, more of the announce their final date ahead of time and then build to it. So I feel like Jericho and Styles will be entering their final time sometime in this year and maybe wrapping up in 27. Now, I don't want to make light of a really bad situation. That is not the intention here.
Oh boy.
How do I say this? I think Vince McMahon's name
I see where you're going.
Stop laughing, because I don't want to laugh at this, because it's a serious situation. I think Vince McMahon's name, you son of a bitch, will be redacted.
Okay.
In 2026.
Vince McMahon's name will be redacted in 2026. We'll let your mind wander as to what Pete is talking about with that one.
Are we talking about the current Lucha Mania Tag Team Champions redacted of Midcard and Looney.
That's demonetized, bro.
I thought their name was. Are you serious? I thought their name was redacted.
Demonetized. Hey,
cut that. Cut that.
Stunners
chat.
and stoners, tell them to put the vape down, bro.
Yo, man, I'm high. Cut
It
that.
says
chat.
fantasy booking Vince McMahon is crazy. I'll let you guess who said that one, Pete.
I actually don't know which of the geeks it was, honestly.
In New York. Well, ladies and
that's his boy though. That's Durag Vince.
Durag. Ooh, you do point out something crazy there. All right, well, you know what? Let me do the outro and we can get to it. Benta Bobashi in the house. Benta, stay with us. We're just gonna do the outro real quick and we'll get back to business. Hold on real quick. Let's just do the outro real quick.
Big J.
3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, well, there you have it. Those are our 2026 predictions. Some of them a little bit out there. Some of them, might happen. And some of them, well, we'll let your mind wander as to what the hell we're even talking about. But that does it. We did this in 2024. That was my first video ever. As I said, you know what? Pop up another clip from the first video. Because trust me, that shit's embarrassing as hell. Told you, that shit is embarrassing as hell. But that was our first video. We came back again last year. I told the boys, let's make this a yearly thing. And so we're back again. 2026 predictions. Those are our predictions. So let us know in the comments. What do you think? Which ones you think you see happening? Which ones you think are not happening? Which ones were crazy as hell? And what was the worst take of the night? Make sure you drop them all in the comments. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my boy Glorious Pete 11. His links are going to be down in the description and all of that. Shout out my boy Jack, the Lucha Mania World Champion. Well, who knows, ladies and gentlemen, 1 week in about a week's time, next Thursday, January 8th, Lucha Mania is back in action. And who knows, maybe Jack will be defending his title that night. Who knows? We're going to see. We're going to find out real soon. But shout out Jack. Shout out Pete. Make sure you guys go follow them and all of that. You show them some love, all of that. The links will be in the description. But ladies and gentlemen, that does it. That's Jack. That's Pete. I'm Don Lucha. That's all I got for you. I'll see you next time. Peace out.